so fetch.
Y'all, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Kaiya, and today we are taking a deep dive into the Canadian death metal band Gorguts. Very exciting. I want to give a quick shout out to one of my subscribers and Discord members, Spather, for recommending Gorguts. This video is dedicated to him. He picked out most of the songs with some help from my Discord members, but Gorguts is one band that he has been wanting for a very, very long time, and that y'all have been requesting as well. So we are doing Gorguts, finally coming from from Canada, from Quebec of all places. I actually have some ancestral ties to Quebec. So from 1989, very excited. We got 5 songs today. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please feel free to do so. I post weekly videos documenting my metal journey as a brand new metalhead. If that sounds interesting to you, then you can hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post. Like and share the video with a friend. Join my Discord, the Mosh Pit. There's an invite link in the description, as well as my P.O. box if you feel inclined to send something to our monthly metal unboxing videos. Okay, intro is done. Let's get into Gorguts, and the first song we're going to listen to is called Rottenatomy. And it is off of Considered Dead, which is the debut full-length album by Gorguts. Oh. Different groove changes so far. First impressions, I like that there's 4 different like grooves and beats, I guess, that they're doing. I love that the like actual verse with the vocals is like double bass, like super fast. Then it kind of opens into this like little groove, and then even more of this like groove pocket with this nice little riff. This is reminding me production wise of like old Cannibal Corpse. Very bare bones in its production, not a lot of like effects or anything like that. I like it so far. I love that the song started with a bass riff. Oh, give me more bass. Just so this came out when 80 Considered Dead 91. Okay, yep, can definitely hear it. I love how bare bones it is.
Surround
say that before we get more into the song, I will say, that breakdown section was deliciously panned. Love that both the guitars were total opposite sides of the headphones, and this one was just like a nice low riff, good solid, like other guitars just like holding down the notes, but it was the drums. Once the drums came in that section, it was so nice, and they were mic'd beautifully and perfect and just placed like right there. Oh, and then you actually had the like beautiful, quite like gorgeous little solo sort of panned just right here, just kind of cupping the drums nicely. Really, really nice. Love the layout of this song so far. And the riffs. The riffs. With the reverbed out, just like guttural scream. Of course you don't have comments on this. Alright, I love the album cover too. With this like, I don't even know, stuck zombie thing. Love the art. Love the sound. Definitely giving me like old Cannibal Corpse vibes. Just like a really good classic like death metal sound. I like it. Oh! No wonder this is featuring Chris Barnes? Oh, of course Scott Burns is on this. Of course. Oh my gosh! This is the first singer for Cannibal Corpse. Oh, he was in 6 Feet Under? American death metal vocalist between 88 and 95. Vocalist for Cannibal Corpse. 93, he founded a band called 6 Feet Under, which would become his main project after he left Cannibal Corpse. He was also the vocalist for Finnish death metal band Torture Kill, which is named after a song by 6 Feet Under. And he was featured on this track, huh? With Gorguts? Whoa. I've been lost in a jungle for an hour and 15 days. Hopelessly searching for exits in this lethal maze. Bars. Footsteps I've taken, each one driving me insane, always turning in circles in this hostile jungle. Having dropped my last piece of food, the most vital thing I never wished to lose, I slipped and found myself in a dark place like hell, at the bottom of a pit where I had fell. Rottenatomy is about a person lost in a jungle who falls into a pit inhabited by carcasses, dwelling maggots. He prefers to commit suicide rather than being devoured alive, as other wanderers look at him from above the pit and take him for dead. Whoa! Whoa! Wait! Oh, those are leaves that are around this carcass, then? What is this creature? This, like, silver or blue creature that's, like, in the corner there. And I like the... Oh, this is interesting. I wonder if this is all, like, a maze in this... Oh, considered dead? I wonder if this is kind of a concept but not concept album about this, like, haunted maze or something in this jungle, and maybe it's, like, underground or something. Waste of Mortality, Drifting Remains. Chris Barnes, Scott Burns. Of course, recorded in Tampa, Florida. Not surprising. Might be wrong, but I've been wondering for some time, and I believe he's singing between Rot and Gashes. Help me, Rottenatomy. If someone could confirm this. Ooh. Whatever it is, I'm here for it. So clearly, this is the time when, you know, this is like death metal at its prime. It's baby prime. So actually it's prime, yeah, because I feel like death metal really started in Florida like 85 maybe, and then kind of took off, right? Somewhere around there. Like, this is like prime death metal time. Okay, Gorguts it is. I liked the song. Definitely heard, like I said, Cannibal Corpse vibes, which is no surprise. We're working with the same daddy of death metal, Scott Burns, producer. So definitely, I mean, what are the other bands he worked on? I know we just had him on here. Yeah, he did Death. I've known he did Death. I know he did Cannibal Corpse. And I think he did, yeah, he did Sepultura, and I think he did he do, no, he didn't do Morbid Angel. But he did do Suffocation, Cynic, Deicide, Obituary. I thought for sure he did Morbid Angel, but either way, that's what we know. Classic death metal, daddy of death metal producers on this, so I have a feeling I know what we're getting ourselves into. I like it so far. So now we're moving 2 years later to The Erosion of Sanity from 1993, and we are listening to the song Condemned to Obscurity. Ooh. Horror movie-esque. Beautiful. Sorry. Crate. Get your crate. Get crate. Lay down. Lay down. Puppy's looking for trouble. Ooh. Playing on the whole Erosion of Sanity vibes, because I feel like the way that this guitar riff is next to, like, layered on top of like what the bass riff is doing is so disorienting, especially with the like super high note of the guitar riff. It's just, it feels like you're in like an insane asylum. Loved the piano intro. Gorgeous, beautiful, and just like a fade up, totally different vibe. Great way to introduce a track. the bass. It's so nice to hear the bass just a little bit more up front and center, and he's just repping these, like, I don't know, they have like these delicious bass slides where they cut everything out and then you just hear the bass before they bring the band back in. But he's doing, this is the second, like, disorienting, like, bass riff that he's doing. And the fade in of the keys, I mean, they just, like, it wasn't a fade in, but the way that they introduced the keys back into the song was so juicy because you wouldn't expect it. And they just, like, sneak them right in there for, like, 2 measures doing this riff. And then I'm pretty sure this lead guitar is doing the same melody as the keys now. And now we're in the same, I think it's the same riff where it's like that disorienting combo of like the bass and the higher guitar riff now. Yeah, Gorguts, really noticing a lot of the bass, really great vocals. Love the vocals. The drums are mic'd beautifully. They're definitely reminding me of like Mastodon type reverbed and Opeth style reverb drums. That's what I'm getting to. They have some really good breakdowns. Just really nice layout here. Yeah. Too. There's like, I don't know what he's singing, but it sounds like he's saying like, there's nothing to fear. I like that he like quickens it and has a little bit more, almost kind of like a rap sort of thing, but then the band follows him, follows. Also, it looks like TV screens or something on this album cover. The bright light of day you'll no longer see. In a blind dimension, henceforward you'll be. A burying in darkness you will have to bear. Deep, you're drowned in this optical nightmare. In vortex, your visions collapse instantly. Now your life is condemned to obscurity. Condemned to obscurity. Oh, I love that. Nothing on this song. Technical death metal, okay, yeah, I can see that. No notes. 8 songs. Alright. Let's bring up Metal Archives and see what we can find. Archives. Gorguts. Are they still together? Yep, still together. Death metal. Talk about mysticism, legends, history, politics, illness, death. So, Considered Dead, we listened to a song off that. The Erosion of Sanity. Why not? Luke LeMay. So they have 2 guitarists, bass, drums. So it looks like Luke mostly does like vocals, guitars, lyrics. Members, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. So he took a break, Luke LeMay. He took a 3-year break from 2005 to 2008. So now they have a new bass player from 2009 to present. Also replaced their second guitarist in 2009. And they just recently replaced their drummer in 2014, just recently. But, you know, I mean, I guess it's been 10 years, but still. Okay. It's amazing how you can have, like, different musicians for all of these things. So I guess they just had... Damn, they only had a drummer for like their first like 2 records. Drummers, man. The rhythm section is so important. Losing a drummer is rough. Rough. It's a rough time. Alright. Let's go to the 3rd track, Nostalgia. Da, da, da. This is off of what? Let's see. Nostalgia. This is off of a 98 record called Obscurity. So now we're going 5 years into the future. This is their 3rd record. 1998 through the now defunct Olympic recordings. Okay, so they were a different... It has since been reissued by Century Media in 2015. Okay, cool. This is very like One. It reminds me of One by Metallica, the music video thumbnail. This is a 6-minute song? Wow. Has this, oh man, she's sassy. The bass riff is so sassy, so swingy, and it just like dips like a roller coaster. And I love that now the rhythm guitar, lead guitar, whatever, has now followed the bass, is now following the bass and doing sort of like this nice little harmony. It's not the exact same thing, but it's a nice harmony to go with it. Loved the way this song started too, just like jumping right in. It sounds like it's almost like you're jumping into the song and it was already playing. Like that's how just in it we already were. they're doing in this song, because they've got 2 hard pans for both 2 layered vocals and now the guitars, and they're so muffled because I think it's an effect. It's some type of muffled effect, and they are so low panned, like right here. And even like the layered vocal that they had here was even lower than this one that was over here. But now it's like you've got this little, almost like guitar riff solo thing, and then just a little accent marks here, but it's so juicy with the bass. Oh, this bass is being shown a good ass time right now. She is bumping, and I love the vibe change. This is giving me like the bumpy, like Roots, Bloody Roots, Sepultura vibe that I'm assuming if this Obscura record is by Scott Burns, it makes sense. Because this is like, it's got that bounce to it. Gorguts, I feel like, is reminding me a lot of like, technicality wise, it's a little bit more simple. I mean, it's definitely more simple, I think, than Opeth, but it's kind of reminding me of like Opeth and Mastodon, but more rough around the edges. Definitely getting the Sepultura and Cannibal Corpse vibes. That just signature Tampa, Florida death metal sound. I like it. I love that it kind of climbs up, does a little trill, climbs down, and then comes back again. It's beautiful. It's amazing in a song like this, you can have those little melodies that are just like, you could take that melody and just like do some sort of like orchestral piece and have it be like so gorgeous somewhere else. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Love it. I love it. And I love that they're dropping down this section now and having just like the vocals. And I think they have another instrument now that's doing the same vocal or the same little riff now too.
Down
Nice hard stop. Nice hard stop. Okay. I think I'm getting, definitely, I know I mentioned that one, I was getting one because of the album cover was kind of reminding me of it. Let me just check something. The Black Album. Yeah, 91. So this was, I mean, Obscura came much later than the Black Album, but I'm getting 90s Metallica-esque, you know, which would make sense for the time, just with how things are going. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of getting that, especially with that ending riff for Nostalgia. I feel like I've heard that exact sort of style in, oh, you know what it was from? Actually, it was from Gojira. I think it was like, it wasn't The Art of Dying. It was one of the first 2 Gojira songs that we listened to. I think they ended their song with a very similar riff style, which is interesting. So let's do Gorguts, Nostalgia. Who did they have on this? No credits, huh? This is a 12 to 13 song record. This album is a revelation. Also, I think the song is about the toxic nature of nostalgia. Nostalgia excludes the whole. When you're blinded by nostalgia, you tend to only focus on what was good about the past and lose sight of the bigger picture and what was also not so pleasant about the time you long for. Holy mother effing crap. When the bass groove comes in, holy mother of God, holy. Perfect comment. So this is considered avant-garde metal. That's a wide claim. Groove metal. Alright. Latest feeling drowned in lucid contradiction. Coming relation revolved around a heart. Nostalgia excludes the whole. Oh no, all the coffee I've drinking is now draining my body. As spleen takes over me, resound the echoes of my trinities, and then the fact of being has no longer meaning. The hymns of light they'll sing once I'll be gone. From Wikipedia, this says, splénitique in French refers to a state of pensive sadness or melancholy. The connection between spleen, the organ, and melancholy, the temperament, comes from the humoral medicine of the ancient Greeks. One of the humor's body fluid was the black bile, secreted by the spleen organ and associated with melancholy. Interesting. Interesting. What is this? So, Obscura. Olympic records. Additional notes. Sound Production Canada. So they recorded this in Canada. So they did not record this in Tampa. Okay, because they did record The Erosion of Sanity of Studio Victor. Interesting. So, maybe they didn't record the other ones. I don't know. Hold on. Considered Dead. Says on Metal Archives that was in Tampa. So did Scott Burns. I think he did Considered Dead, right? The Erosion of Sanity. Obscura. Hold on, let's see. Who produced this? Personnel. Artwork. So they had a different person. Yeah, Pierre. Producer, engineer. Alright, yeah, I could kind of hear a little bit of a difference. I'm trying to see, I mean, it wasn't much. It was just a little bit. Because I got a little bit of, like, Metallica influence in there. Not that that really means much, but... So now let's go to our fourth song. It is called Elusive Treasures. And this is off of their 2001 record, From Wisdom to Hate. Another 6-minute song. Ooh, Bubba. Alright, let's see how this one goes. The bass and the guitars doing this super bassy bass. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like you can kind of hear the string noise a little bit, but it's delicious how they're introducing this sound, just taking everything else around it and then just like letting this riff, this bass riff, just kind of carry. And I love the soft fade of bringing everything back in to the song. I'm definitely noticing a change in their sound now. The first song that we listened to was like straight, like I mentioned, the best of like the death metal sound from that scene. I mean, they had Scott Burns on it, so that's what I was hearing. This is different. It's definitely changing just a little bit. This is giving me a little bit more like Gojira-esque, especially because there's songs. This is like a much longer song. Same with the other one too. But I love this bass section. Lost in the abyss of it's just a personal preference. I don't know if it's just because I've had so much coffee this morning or not. But I can't tell if I like how the drums are placed in this mix either. Because the kick drum, oh man, like it does sound delicious because you can hear every single time he hits that kick drum. It's forward, it's right here. And I feel like it's almost too forward. And it's like all I can focus on in this recording. All I hear and can focus on is that kick drum. And then like the actual vocals and everything else is kind of like just behind that. It's also really interesting that, I don't know if it's his snare or if it's his tom, that has that same like reverb tone that all the other records they've has had, but their kick drum sounds so much more like cleanly recorded, almost to the point where it doesn't sound real, but it is real. It's just how it's mic'd. So it's just interesting how all I can focus on is the kick though. Since the midst of time, has there been that survive? Drowned and darling, wicked one night. Swallowed was their empire. In the midst of time, drink the blood and survive. Interesting. I'm gonna be honest, wasn't a huge fan. I'm gonna just keep it real, okay? I wasn't a huge fan. It's given me Gojira vibes for sure. And y'all know how I felt about Gojira. However, the Art of Dying was really great. I think that this song was just a bit boring for me. I just don't feel like the riffs went anywhere. I felt like the song was like super flat for most of it. I felt that way a little bit with Nostalgia. I just don't know, I mean, it's always different when you've got these longer songs. It's always different with how bands do them, because sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're not. Like, I feel like this is definitely one of those, like, slow banger, kind of almost ballad-esque, but not really. There wasn't a lot of, like, super fast parts. There were really delicious double bass sections, but I feel like that's all I could focus on was, like, the double bass in there. And I felt like the riff was very just, like, monotonous and dragged on. And I also know, I don't remember any solos being in this song, and I don't remember a solo being in Nostalgia either, which is fine. You don't have to have a guitar solo for those things, but if you're gonna have a long song, a long ballad, there's gotta be, at least in my personal opinion, I would like to have a solo. However, the lack of solo for this song, they did make up for it with this, like, bass riff section. I think that was the most delicious part of it. Great way to kind of break up the monotonous sounding guitar riff. They're definitely noticing a change in their sound for sure. Oh my gosh, Spinner. Elusive Treasures. Nothing on this. This is tagged pop. This is not pop. Sometimes sometimes there's nothing on Genius. Getting off of you. Tired of looking at you. Sorry, Genius. Let's see, full length from 2001. So it looks like a lot of people really liked the Erosion of Sanity and their first album. People really liked And Then Comes Lividity, their demo, which is a cassette. This is something they independently released. What do you think about that? Did you ever listen to that from the 1990s? So From Wisdom to Hate, they really haven't had any. Wow, they haven't released an album in so long. So they replaced their drummer in 2016, but haven't released anything since 2016. Why? They've just taken literally an 8-year hiatus. I wonder if they're going to be releasing anything soon. From Wisdom to Hate. Recorded in June. Mixed at a studio in Quebec. Yeah, not a huge fan of that sound, but the Erosion of Sanity, I'm surprised that was in. I'm surprised that was in, I swear that was in Tampa. But oh well. So, they did change labels at that time, I believe. So, I think they were on, Roadrunner, and then they went to Olympic, which is no more, but Olympic Recordings, yeah, it says they were in Illinois. Interesting. Canadian record label, or Canadian band, signed to a record label in Chicago. Interesting. They had a Behemoth. They did have some. Oh! Behemoth was on. They did a Zoskia. That's the one that I really liked. They also did the Lima. Did some Aborted. 2 things of Gorguts, Immolation, Jungle Rot. Alright. Nice. I think that this is like a fine record. I think that one, it just felt a little monotonous in my opinion, but that's okay. You know, it's fine. Because sometimes it just be like that. So, we've got one more song, and this one is called The Battle of Chamdo? Chamdo? Is that a typo, Mr. Spoother? It is not. Chamdo? Whoa, what is this from? The Battle of Chamdo. From... what? This is on Season of the Mist. What is this from? Battle of Chamdo. Chamdo? Chamdo? 2013. Oh, we're making a huge leap now. Colored Sands. 5th record. Alright. Gorguts' first studio album since 2001's From Wisdom to Hate. Oh my gosh, so they had an even longer hiatus then. I didn't even realize that. Man, they haven't released very many records. What's the backstory between that? Do you know? Oh my lord, that is a leap, dude. That is a leap for your career. Oh my gosh. 12 years. Oh, this ought to be good. Man, what was going on between 91 and 2001? You released 4 albums in 10 years, which is really normal, you know? And then you don't release anything for 12 years? Whoa. Alright, let's go. Battle of Chamdo. Ooh. Jaws theme song. recording of this so far. I'm wondering if this is just like a string instrumental because we're 2.5 minutes in, or if they're gonna blast us in the face with something and it's gonna be like a minute long. That's what I'm expecting. What I can say is I'm a sucker for strings, so I already really like it. I love the sound of strings, and I love that it's recorded beautifully. It's just like all of it is like mastered, mixed really well, and I love that you can hear a little bit of like the room noise, either like the actual musicians like, you know, shuffling in their chair or something like that as they're playing, because it sounds like shoes like adjusting on hardwood floors. I hear like the studio space, hardwood floors, something like that. Just very faint, like over here. Love it. Big picture wise, for Gorguts, this is kind of matching the Edge of Sanity keys intro that was in that second song we listened to. That one was a little more sinister, where this is like a little more mythical, almost, kind of adventure-esque. In the big picture scheme, this is very different than what we started out with. So if this is just a straight orchestral song, like very different vibe, I'm interested to see where they go with this. I'm waiting for it to happen. Chills. We have a minute. Oh God, we have a minute. Oh, this is so creepy, dude. Ooh. Ooh. God, that's so sinister. Dude, I have such chills. So it's a whole orchestral, like, instrumental. So what does that mean for this record then? Whoa. Super sinister. Sounded like they were kind of like building up to something. And the like dun dun dun. It was like serial killer, dark forest, Jaws, Alice in Wonderland, Game of Thrones, frickin' edge of your seat strings. I'm a sucker for a good orchestral moment. Now we have comments. Great. Ooh, what is this? The Battle of Chamdo is also a very important piece in the concept puzzle. It illustrates the Chinese invasion of Tibet in 1950. Then after that, everything changed for the worse for those people, LeMay says, explaining that the latter half of Colored Sands deals with post-1950 destruction of the Tibetan people. From the Battle of Chamdo, we enter the tragic fate of Tibet in the lyrical concept. What a master. Luc LeMay's a genius. I love this composition. Perfect for a D&D campaign. Yep, absolutely. So perfect for a D&D campaign. There might not be any notes on this, but let's just see. Battle of Chamdo. So, concept record then. Because that would make sense. Rock, orchestral, death metal. 9 tracks. Nothing on this. Just wonder. Colored Sands. Instrumental. Lineup. It looks like Luc LeMay for this one just mostly does like rhythm, additional notes. Recorded in Canada, string orchestras, vocals, additional guitars, and drums were recorded from March 2011 to February 2013 in Menegroth, the Thousand Caves studio in New York City. Interesting. Mixed and mastered at Menegroth in New York City. Reviews. I want to just see what Wikipedia has to say about this. So this was on Colored Sands. Colored Sands Gorguts. It has to be a concept album then, right? Because that's beautiful. First studio album since 2001. Album features the first recordings with their, I guess, new guitarist, Kevin, bassist Colin Marston, and the band's only recordings with drummer John Longstreth. It is a concept album based on Tibet. Yeah. Album was released digitally on August 6, 2013, with physical copies coming out in September. With Season of Mist now. So now they've gone from, what was it, Roadrunner to Olympic recordings to Season of Mist now. That can kind of happen too. You can kind of get put off from recording just with personal life stuff, but then also like record labels and things like that. If you're trying to find a label to like push your music on. Especially when you're like a decently bigger band, like I could imagine not wanting to just like independently release something, especially in between like 2001 and 2013 when it's like digital music was starting to become a thing, but people still relied, I guess, on record labels to push music because there weren't things like, you know, SoundCloud. YouTube was kind of just starting out, I think maybe in like what, 2006 maybe? I think. God, you remember the days of like old YouTube? Oh lordy. Placed Colored Sands in the context of Gorguts' previous work. Deliberately made an effort to not do such things as the fast Slayer beats. No more fast-picking riffs and other ideas found on our second album, The Erosion of Sanity. This prompted the band to develop what LeMay described as a new musical language that was first heard on Obscura. However, LeMay noted that Obscura was essentially a first draft of this new language for which the outcome is somewhat simplistic. LeMay viewed From Wisdom to Hate and Colored Sands as more sophisticated expressions of the musical language developed by Gorguts. Really? You can definitely tell. If he's purposely trying to make a new music sound for Gorguts, you can absolutely tell. There is a switch. There is a hard switch. The first record and Erosion of Sanity are definitely much different than what you hear in Obscura and From Wisdom to Hate. Colored Sands too. I mean, obviously we only listen to an instrumental, but it sounds like it's more. It would focus more on a less noisy, I guess you could say, approach to it, if that makes sense. So the songs were written by LeMay and Marston. The other band members composed their own things. Inspired by Opeth. The album The Incident by Porcupine Tree. I've heard of Porcupine Tree, yeah. Definitely got Opeth. Little bit. LeMay described the album as a soundtrack approach containing the essential ingredients of Obscura. I think we took more time to say things musically on this record, not that we were in a rush on the other records, but the songs were shorter with this one. It breathes more. But you had songs that were like 6 minutes. Oh, well, this is Colored Sands. Okay. Album's concept was inspired by LeMay's viewing of a child's drawing of a Tibetan sand mandala, which is a symbol made of colored sand that is ritualistically destroyed once it has been constructed. LeMay confirmed that the album's title alludes to sand mandalas. LeMay explained that while he initially considered writing an album entirely based upon the sand mandala, he later expanded to focus upon Tibetan culture, geography, and history. LeMay explained that it was intent to create a storytelling mood within the music, sort of like a motion picture music. LeMay referred to Tibet as the canvas for the music, in which the first 4 songs discuss the splendors of the country, culture, topography, and geography, and the last 4 refer to the country being invaded, people protesting through immolation, people getting killed trying to escape. The song Absconders is based on Jonathan Green's book Murder in the High Himalaya, about the Nangpa La shooting incident, and quotes the book from with Green's permission. The transition between the first 4 songs and the last 4 is an orchestral piece called the Battle of Chamdo, which refers to the invasion of Tibet by China. Whoa! That piece was written by LeMay on piano and recorded with the string quintet. That's really cool that you can have a metal musician like actually compose a piece like that. And the fact that he like wrote it on piano and then was like, let's bring in, you know, an orchestra and stuff, a string quintet to this. A beautiful way to incorporate music, a beautiful way to transition 2 different chapters of a record and bring it together. It's definitely very creepy. Whereas a piano piece, I feel like in the second song we listened to, which was called Condemned to Obscurity, that piano piece was a little more sinister. This one was a little more like unsettling for sure, like somebody's watching you type thing. So all right, what do you think about this record, Colored Sands? I think it's interesting. It's a very specific, I guess, concept record. Interesting. I definitely think it's interesting. And I think it's cool. I think it's definitely an interesting way to have a record. I'm just wondering if it makes sense for Gorguts. Like, what are your thoughts? Does it seem like, I guess, if we want for me to get into my final thoughts, I guess my one question about Gorguts is, what's their sitch? Like, what's the deal with them? Because I feel honestly like they don't know what they are, if that is valid. I just feel like there's definitely a switch between 91 and 2013. Obviously, that's a long time. I mean, that's over 20 years. And their sound changed so much. And a lot of that, of course, can deal with, you know, switching, everything from switching to musicians, to mental health, to moving to a different environment, to switching labels, which they did. So the obvious factors of like what has happened through this is they were really active for 10 years. They released albums consistently pretty much, but they did bounce between 3 or so labels. They swapped a few musicians. And they recorded in different locations and used different producers, which again goes along with swapping labels and stuff like that. But you definitely hear the difference, especially when you have somebody as polarizing as Scott Burns, who you may not think it's that important, but Bubba, it's important when you're looking at the history of death metal and the fact that they recorded in Tampa, Florida, and that Scott Burns has literally done almost all of the big death metal acts that came out of frickin' Florida. So you hear his influence in that production, and you hear it in this record. You certainly don't hear it in Obscura or From Wisdom to Hate. This is like really when their vibe changed. And I don't know, in my personal opinion, if it's better. I, again, only heard the orchestral instrumental track from Colored Sands, which I thought was beautiful. I love strings. I love that is the transitional piece for a concept record. I think that that's really cool. And I guess I'm just wondering what their vibe is, because I'm a little confused with their sound, and it sounds like Luke LeMay and Gorguts as a whole want to achieve something greater than like what they accomplished. Like, it sounds like they're not happy with what they did on Considered Dead, if that makes sense. Like, they want to obviously do something more different, instrumentally than what they accomplished with that. Maybe they just want to explore musically different options for themselves, which is what they obviously tried to do with Colored Sands and Obscura and From Wisdom to Hate. So I guess it's like they're figuring that out, and they're also maybe a little confused on what direction they're going in. 'Cause I don't know, I feel like their longer songs, especially the one that we listened to, From Wisdom to Hate, I felt like was okay. But I felt like it just kind of dragged on. I don't know. I don't feel like they have a real definitive direction. What do you think? I mean, am I just like reading too much into it? Maybe not, but I feel like they started off as like real straightforward death metal, and then kind of, I could definitely hear the Opeth sound that they were kind of going for. A little bit of Mastodon. They were getting some of Gojira in there, which makes sense because you're kind of like, I mean, they're recording in Canada, which is obviously not in France where Gojira is located at, but you know, kind of the same vibes. And I think Opeth recorded their records in New York as well. Or was that Testament? Somebody recorded in New York recently from a recent reaction. So, I don't know. I also think it's really interesting that From Wisdom to Hate, 12-year hiatus. They released a few small things, but then they have 2013, and now we're in another hiatus. They had an EP. It only was one song that was 32 minutes long. What did you think about that? So, and it says they're still active, so I'm wondering, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Gorguts? Again, I'm not tearing them apart. I'm just trying to understand what their vibe is. Because it seems like they're definitely, if they're still exploring this musical journey, I mean, that would explain, and let's theorize that Luc Lemay is the main steam behind the band. He writes all the songs and stuff like that. And I think he probably writes, like, if he's the rhythm guitarist, he probably does what I do, which is like, I do all the lyrics and the basic chords, have some ideas for melodies, and then I bring it to my band and I'm like, okay, here, like, have at it. Like, you can do whatever you want on drums and lead guitar. So I'm sure Luc Lemay does something similar with his band, you know? So if he's trying to figure out more of his musical journey, he could just be kind of going through a writer's block or some like weird musical journey, trying to figure out what he wants to do, maybe dealing with like some self-doubt issues in terms of songwriting, and that's why they haven't released a record in so long. I've felt that before, so I don't know. Probably thinking too much into it, but I think that stuff's interesting. So let me know your thoughts on Gorguts. What do you think about their records, their discography? What's your favorite record, least favorite record? Do you agree with me that they kind of don't have a direction, or that they do, it's just changed over time? Do you like their new sound? Did you like Colored Sands, or did you prefer their older stuff? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you want to subscribe to the channel, please feel free to do so. You can also join my Discord, the Mosh Pit. There's an invite link in the description, as well as my P.O. box if you want to send something to be featured in a metal unboxing video. I'll see you soon, okay? So don't fret. Don't guitar fret, okay? Sorry, corny dad jokes. I will see you very soon. Please take care, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, babies.